Hello everyone and welcome to day 2 tutorial for Illustrator training. So to start day 2, we should recap day 1 first, what all we learned in day 1. So first of all we saw why we need Illustrator and who all can use Illustrator. Then we looked into operating system, the operating system I am using, and how Mac users can see this video, what all they should be careful about. Then we went to the installation part, how to install Illustrator, download the setup from the website. Then we saw comparison between vector and raster graphics, and uh, and we learned that Illustrator is a vector-based software. Then we went to the user interface part when we open Illustrator first time, how interface looks and how everything, what all things we have when we open Illustrator. Like on the right we have panel bar, on the left we have toolbar, on the top we have menu bar. Just a little bit of everything. We didn't go in detail, so we just went through all of them. That this is what they called, nothing more than that. Then we looked into the canvas. What is canvas? What is artboard? If you are still confused between canvas and artboard, don't worry. I will explain it again today. Also, I'm going to explain few differences between what is interface and what is workspace. I think yesterday I wasn't very clear when I was telling the difference between interface and workspace, and I might have used wrong words at times, so please forgive me for that. And today I'm going to cover all of these things again in short, and it should help you it should help you in understanding. Then we saw how to navigate the canvas, how to zoom in, zoom out, and different ways of navigation that uh, either we can use keyboard shortcuts on mouse, either we can use the scroll bars available on the interface itself, or we can use navigator panel from Windows. So if you miss that part, I will again cover it today. Not in much, um, if you missed that part yesterday, I will cover it today again. So don't worry about that. Then we learned how to create new file and save that file, and we learned how to open that file again in Illustrator. We also learned the extension, that the extension of Illustrator is .ai, and we saw if we want to save into legacy versions, if we want to save a file in legacy versions, like right now we are using Illustrator CC and you want to save it in CS6 or CS5 versions of Illustrator, how can we do that? So you get options while saving the file. So yeah, you can refer my previous video for that. So to start day 2, we will start. Yesterday, actually, I missed one thing. While telling you creating new files, I missed the sizes. That if we create file of different sizes. Yesterday we were creating files, but all files were of same size. I think letter. Yeah. So this time, when we create new files, we are going to see different sizes of the files, and we'll see whether it actually changes something or does it all look same. So let's begin. Okay, so we'll see how to create files of different sizes and compare their size. First of all, click on file and click on new, or you can press Ctrl N from your keyboard. So this brings me the new file window. Here I have name and profile, and then size, and then width and height. So this time we are going to change width and height, and we are going to play with sizes also. We'll see how this affects our document. So let's say first we create a letter size document itself or file, and press OK. So we have our file here, and let us just let's draw a rectangle over here so that I know I have my file, say or I can either type some text, let's say file 1, which is letter. Now how I type text and how I'm doing all this stuff, we will come to that part in our future videos. You for as of now you can just ignore it. So here we have our just a minute, and we'll do one more thing here. Center align, center align. Okay, this is center align now. Now let's create another file. This time instead of letter we will use A4 and yeah, A4, and here we'll just copy and paste this stuff and center align it, and let's say this is A4, so let's say A4. I should make it something like this. Okay, so this looks good, and this should be file 2 instead of file 1. So there we go, file 2 A4. And now we'll create one more file. Now if you look carefully, this file 1 letter and file 2 A4, they looks almost same. There's not much difference if I see here. Just I think the width wise there's some difference we are seeing. So let's create another file, and this time let's say instead of 595 pixels, we are saying we are typing 1500, and here instead of 800 pixels we are taking some 3000 pixels. The unit is pixels. Make sure you know the units you are working in. So I am working pixels right now, and that's okay with me. So click on OK, and there we go. We have our third file here. Copy paste, and let's make it a little big. Alright. So now what we are going to do is we are actually going to compare their sizes in pixels, or let's create one more file, and this time instead of pixels we'll take unit as inches. So 20 inch by 41 inch, and let's take it B4 size, and the unit is in inches, and yeah, it's okay. So again Control C, and now you can see when I have copied this from here, this file is actually very big. Untitled 3, file 3 is actually very big, and this file is comparatively small. But we want to see the size on the scale, so we are just going to say and file 4, and it should be B4. I think B4 we took. I don't remember now, but I think it was B4. This one instead of A4 will say custom. It's a custom dimensions. Now there's something in Illustrator which is called rulers. It's like a kind of scale when you compare it with paper. So like on paper you have scale which you use to measure dimensions or draw straight lines, or you use it for various purposes. So like that we have a ruler kind of thing over here. So to bring up the rulers, press Ctrl R on your keyboard, or you can go to View, Rulers, Show Rulers. When you see Show Rulers, it says Ctrl R is a shortcut for it. So okay, I can go to View, Rulers, Show Rulers, and this brings up my rulers over here. I'm pressing Ctrl 0 to fit my artboard to the screen. So okay, now here is when I go to here, top left corner of my file. Let me just zoom in real quick. So here when I go to top left of my file, you can see if I draw a vertical line from here, you can see it merges to the 0 on the ruler, and from the top left corner of my file, or from the from top left corner of my artboard, if I draw a horizontal line, it will merge to the zero of the ruler on vertical ruler. So what you can do is, you can click on the ruler and drag a line. So it will bring a guide to your file, or it will draw a guide on your file. You can again select this guide and you can move it the way you want. This is good for if you are arranging something and if you are spacing out your artworks, and you will use this a lot. And if you want to create a margin around your document, it can be used for various purposes. Over the time, when we start learning tools or start learning drawing in Illustrator, we'll start using these rulers more and more, and you will be very comfortable using this. So like I drew a horizontal ruler, the same way, or you can say a horizontal guide, sorry, the same way I can drag a guide from vertical ruler. So I'll just click on this ruler and drag, and this will create a vertical guide for me. So you can see this collapses at the zero of the ruler. So that means I can go and compare my size now. So from 0, if I go onwards, it says 612 pixels. Now how do I know it is pixel? Because when I created the document, I knew my unit were pixel. So there are different ways we can see it again, but how do we do it? We'll come to it in future chapters. So yeah, this is 612 pixels, and when I go height wise, it starts from 0, and let us just draw another guide at the end of the artboard. So we are very precise in our calculations. 612 here, and it says 792. Alright, so let's go to another file. Again here we have to press Ctrl R to bring up the rulers, Ctrl 0 to fit the artboard or fit the document to screen, and let's draw two rulers at the edge of the artboard. Sorry, I'm saying rulers again and again. It should be guides, and two horizontal guides at the top and bottom of the. Okay, so there we go. Now we can see this one's size is like from 0 to 576 pixels, and when we go height wise, it's from 0 to 828 or even more than that. Let's zoom in to see the unit here. 828, 9, 10. It's almost 830. So that's how we can see sizes of our documents, what size we are working on. So when you are going to print this document, then it will come handy that what size do you have and what paper you are going to print it on. It will help you in making calculations of your total prints better. So again, over here on this file, also press Ctrl R, Ctrl 0 for fit to screen, and again repeat the same procedure. Drag two horizontal guides and two vertical guides. Oh, I just here is my untitled 3. Messed up the arrangement over here. Okay, so there we go again. And come on. Alright, untitled 3 to. So actually, these tabs and rulers are very close to each other, that accidentally, instead of clicking on ruler, I clicked on tab. So it was happening again and again. So it might happen to you also. So like if you're clicking on ruler and you have multiple tabs open, you might accidentally pull out a tab from here. So if something like that happens, just again press that tab. I mean, on the top of that title bar of a window, you can left click and you can drag it and again snap it to your tab bar. So there you go. Now if you want, I had arrangement for untitled 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now 3 is behind 4. So if you want to arrange it again, then just drag 3 before 4 and it will rearrange itself. So that's how you can manage your tabs also. Alright, so come back to sizes. So this one size is 1440, and we said for this one I think the size was almost 1500 pixels, and there we have 1440 plus some 160 pixels I think over here. And vertically if we go from here, so 0 and 3024, we took almost 3000 pixels for that, and I think this is 3024, so this must be 3000. So yeah, we are getting very accurate results here. Now this file had inches in it, so let me see. So the unit for this file was inches, and the size was almost 10 inch by I think 10 by 14, 10 inch by 14 inch. So we can see over here that 0, 2, 3, 6, 8 and 10 point something. Yeah, that's correct. And when we go here 0, 2, 3, 4 and almost some 16, I think 16, 17. What was the size here? 14.33 and yeah, 14.33. So yeah, we are getting the size. But you should note now that the ruler here is showing only 10 units if I say, and on vertical bar it is showing 14 units. But when I go to here on the file 1, it says 612 units by 792 units. So if you compare it by size, or if you compare it by number, this file should be big than this one. But we have to note that this is in inches, it's not pixels. So it's very important to know the unit of your file, at which units you are working on. Because you might assume that okay, this file is very small, it might be 10 pixel by 14 pixel, but no, it's not, it's in inches. And how can you see, if even if you forget at times that what was the dimension of what was the unit of this file. So there is a way you can see the unit of the file. I will come to that, I will cover that part. So for now, you just know that this unit actually matters, and at times we will use this a lot. So yeah, having understood rulers, guides, dragging guides onto your document, and the unit of your document, we'll move on to next thing, which is called panel bar. We haven't covered it yesterday. I intentionally left it actually. I covered it while recording, but during editing I decided to cut it out because I think there was too much going on in a single video, and I didn't want you to load you with so much of stuff in a single video. So I intentionally cut down that part, and I'm going to cover it in this video. So let's jump into it. On the right we have this panel bar. Now if you see over here on the top right side of this panel bar, I have these two double arrows, very small two double arrows, and what it does is when I click on it, it opens the panel bar. Now when it opens, these all things over here are called panels. So I can click on this double arrow, and it will again shrink, or it will again minimize, and then it will again open. So it's like a toggle switch, you can see. Alternatively, I can mouse over here. Alternatively, I can mouse over here, and when I click and drag, I can expand it. But this will not open the panels. It's like it will show you the names of all the panels. If you keep it really small, you can't see names. You might find it difficult by just looking at the icons, what all panels do you have here. So you might want to do this and have names over here. That makes it more clear to understand and easy to work. For me, I like this. I like compact layout. So it depends on person to person. So the same thing applies when we open the panel bar. So let's say I can mouse over here, click and drag to extend it or to expand it. Then when I open it, I have all my panels here. Again, I can use the same thing, mouse over here and click and drag. So it expands my panel bar itself. And you can do it as much as you want, or till software supports. So there we go. Like it is good. I don't know I don't know why will someone use this big, but it's just an option. I guess it gives you a bigger range for gradients or a choice of colors. So if you are going very precise about your color, so you might find it difficult to select exact color over here. So it's a good idea to drag it out the whole way, and now you have much bigger area to select exact or very precise color from here. So let's say if I want some color like this, I can just click over here and I got that color in my uh, active color. I got that color as my active color. So yeah, it's just a functionality. So it's good to know that. It's good to have knowledge of that. Let's close this again and we'll shrink it down. Now we can rearrange our panels the way we want. I like this part of Illustrator a lot. You can customize your panels the way you want and the way it is being arranged. So that is one good thing I like in interface, because you can have your own set or you can have your own panels. Let me just show it to you real quick. So this is the default panel style or panel arrangement, I should say, we have. One more thing to note is we have some panels hidden behind others. So I don't know what exactly to call this, but I guess it is like a grouping of panels together. So these three panels are grouped together here, these three panels are grouped together here, and stroke, gradients, transparent are grouped together here, appearance and graphic styles are grouped together. Now you can change this entirely. You can change the grouping of panels, what all panels you want to group together, or what all panels even you want to see and what you don't want to see. So first of all, we'll come to docking and undocking the panels. So right now these all panels are docked inside the panel bar. So if I want to undock or if I want to pull out a panel, so what I can do is click over the name of that panel and just drag it out. So it's very simple. Just click on the name of a panel you want to take out and just drag outside the panel bar. So you will see this that something is coming out with the mouse cursor, and that's it. When you release it, it's out of the panel bar. So now if you close your panel bar, open it, it doesn't affect these two panels. Now if you want to close this panel, you have two buttons over here. One is for closing and another one is this panel also has this double arrow kind of thing which can actually collapse and expand the panel. So you can say this is entirely a new panel bar, or I don't know what to say that. I think it's a new panel window, or I don't know the exact name, but that's how you can do it. And so if you want to dock it again, now I have undocked it, but after my work is done and I'm like, let's say if I want to change color, but I don't want to expand this whole panel bar, and what I can do is just undock this and I expanded it, and okay, this is the maximum expansion size I have. Anyways, I selected a color from here, let's say this one, and now I feel like I again want to dock it into the panel bar. So again I can click over here or over the name of the panel bar, both are fine. Then when you go to your panel bar, you see two kinds of arrangement here. One is when I drag over to some panel, I repeat, when I drag over to some panel, I see a blue rectangle around it. So when I release it, it got grouped with that panel itself. Or let's shrink it a bit, or when I put it between two panels. So let's say we have two panels here, color guide and swatches. So when I drag this new panel between them, so I get this blue line. That means it is working as a separator between these two, or it is going to be put between these two panels. So here we have all our three panels together. So let's say if you want to work on swatches and colors, let's say you are working on some color theory examples and you want to make some complementary color schemes. So what you can do is you have your color guide over here, color guide panel over here, you have your color over here, and you have your swatches. So you can select a color and you get alternate colors over here, or if you want to select something from swatches, and you're getting your complementary color options from here. So it depends on what kind of work do you want. It depends on what kind of work do you have, and you can arrange all these panels the way you want. So yeah, now we have seen if I want to dock and undock a single panel. Now what if I want to drag out an entire group of panels? Let's say we have a group here, stroke, gradient and transparency. So what if I want to drag this whole panel group itself, all three of them together? So for that, what I can do is I cannot click on stroke or gradient or any of panel names, otherwise that particular panel will be dragged out. So we will click on this empty space over here. We have some bar, or you can say some title bar over here for every group. So I can just click on this empty space and drag this out. So here I got the entire group separated from the panel bar itself. The same way you can drag color out of here and put it inside this. It made another group of 4 panels together. So let's see if we can get rid of this empty space. So no matter how many panels you group together, you always have this empty space with you, a little bit of empty space, which you can use to drag it around. See, even if docked or undocked, we always have this empty space with us, which is helpful for us to dragging the groups or panels. We have seen the rearranging of panels. Now what if I want to change size of different panels, like brushes? Here we have brushes here, but the size is too big for such a panel. I mean, I don't want to see all these options at once. Rather, I want space for strokes here, or I want space for swatches here. Let's say if let's say I have thousand of swatches here, I have thousand of color swatches here, and I'm not able to see all of them in a single window. I don't want to scroll actually in swatches, and this is covering unnecessary space, this panel. So when you drag between these two panels, so you get this scaling cursor. So just click and drag, so you can change the size of your panels in this way. Sometimes Illustrator auto resize the panels. So let's say if some panel is taking too much space, or let's say when we go to stroke here, sometimes Illustrator auto resize the panels. Let's say we have our appearance panel here and our color guide here, but when I go to stroke, so the panel got resized automatically because there are not much options in stroke. This is the only thing we have in stroke. So you might open some more options, but if there are no options, then Illustrator will automatically resize the panel size according to the content it has. And how I got more options and how it works, we will cover it in later chapters. Actually, panels will cover it parallelly with tools. As we keep learning new tools, we'll keep covering panels. It's like these both things goes together. So we cannot cover one thing at a time and then jump to another thing. We have to keep learning them together. So for now, just know how to rearrange the panels, how can we close the panels, group, ungroup and all. And one more thing, if I have closed any panel from here accidentally, let's say if I close stroke panel and I want to open it again, so I can get all my panels from here, panel windows from here. In window itself, if I click on window, I get all these panels. So if we are to find stroke, let's find stroke panel. So navigator, pathfinder, and there we have our stroke. The shortcut key is also available for it, Control F10. So let's say I press Control F10 on keyboard. and there I got my panel again, and I can just drag it inside. There we go. Now the same thing can be done with toolbar, but toolbar doesn't have that much of customization. The only thing you can do is click and undock the toolbar. You can expand and shrink it, and you can again dock it wherever you want. I think it only docks on the left side or the right side. It doesn't dock on the top and bottom. So you can only dock it in left side or right side. So that's the only option you have with toolbar. Okay, so here there is one more thing we have done. We have grouped together toolbar and panel bar itself. Now these both things are going together. So no matter whatever I do, these both things are stuck together. Okay, so here we have done one more thing. Actually, accidentally we have grouped. Actually, accidentally we have grouped panel bar and toolbar together. Now these two things are stuck with each other, and no matter whatever I do, these two bars will go together. So to undock it, to undock toolbar from panel bar, we have to click here, and there we have undocked it. You can again go over here, and now I don't think it will dock itself. Yeah, now it is docked with panel bar. And if you want to undock it, you have to click over here and just pull it out, and again you can click over here and pull it in, put it in. Again you can click over here and put it over here. So yeah, so that's how we can dock and undock toolbar also. Okay, so done with that. Now we can go and understand difference between interface and workspace, and how we can create our own workspace, reset it, or load existing workspace. What is interface, what is workspace? This confused me a lot, so I did some research on my own and I found out the differences. So I hope it helps you. It might not be the exact information behind this, but it makes a clear difference between these two words, interface and workspace. So to begin with that, first of all we should know that this over here, this button essentials, this changes my workspace. Now talking about workspace, this entire thing, the way it has been arranged or the way it is arranged is called workspace. The way your panels are arranged, your toolbar is arranged, and what all changes you can do inside, or the way your canvas is looking, and all this is called workspace. And now interface is like it's like user interface, you can say, the way it interacts with the user. So interface is like a more technical term, that how it operates or how it functions. So interface, if I am to explain interface, then I should say when you go over window or view or any of the menu bar, then the way it changes, it created a box around the window, and when I click this, it gives the illusion that this box is being pushed inside, or we just pressed a button kind of feel, and then it opened a new menu bar. This is a part of interface. You cannot change it in workspace. I mean, there is no way you can do some settings and change the way it opens. So it will always open like this on Windows platform. And the way you click and drag, so it is dragging around with you, and how everything operates and works, that is a part of interface. So whatever things you have here and the way you are interacting with them, this is a part of interface, because it has been designed or coded to function it like this only. But if you can change few things like the toolbar and panel bar and some look and feel of it, then that's a part of workspace. If it's still confusing, then you can just go to a very basic of it, that rearranging these two comes under workspace, rest all is interface. It doesn't matter much, because no one is going to ask you the differences, and I don't think in any interview or anywhere they are going to ask this. It's just you should know it, and the most important, you should know how software functions and how you can create things which you want to. Alright, so with the difference clear between workspace and interface, we can now see what if I want to create my own workspaces. So this is this button over here, like I said, it shows my current workspace and all. So right now it's showing a check mark in front of essentials. So that means my current workspace is essentials, and the way I'm doing changes in it, it's being saved every time I'm doing something. I'm making some changes over here, so it is being saved. So let's say if I do all this, I change all these things over here. So all this comes under the workspace arrangement. So this is how my workspace looks right now. And now let us change some workspace. These all are the workspace available to you. These all are predefined. On the top I have some custom created workspace. We'll come to that, how we can create these kind of spaces with us. So let us change to painting, and there we go. Now Illustrator has rearranged all the panels and toolbars according to the workspace guidelines, you can say. So like I have my colors, everything, strokes over here, and toolbars, everything got arranged itself. Now if I click over here and again click on essentials, I got my old workspace arrangement again, and I can again rearrange it. I have a freedom to do that. So yeah, I again changed it. Then typography, it got changed again. Now this time we have colors, swatches, but no brushes or anything over here. Rather we have text or character panel over here. So this is for typography. Then switch back to essentials, and we got our workspace back. Now what if I want to reset this workspace? I actually did lot of changes since we started this video, and there's no way I can restore the same settings the way it was, or even if I will, then it is going to take me an enormous amount of time. So what if I want to reset? So let's click on essentials, or let's click on workspace button, and at the bottom we have three more options. So like the name says, it will reset my workspace. So let's see, click over here, and yeah, there we go. I have my old workspace arrangement or layout back. So the tools over here and panels over here. I don't have any panels which I actually opened. I actually opened some new panels. I haven't got them. It all got reset, and yeah, I am in my essentials workspace, so it works very well. Now again, this is applicable to all the workspaces. So let's say this is a workspace right now. I did some changes in painting workspace, and again if I am to go and click on reset painting, then yeah, it got reset again. Okay, so let's switch to another workspace, and we'll see if the same thing is applicable for other workspaces or not. So let's take out some panels and rearrange them, or take out the toolbar and dock it with this. Can we? Yeah, we can dock the toolbar with this also. So yeah, I have made some changes in painting workspace, and let's go and click on reset painting workspace. So click over here, and there we go. We have our workspace reset. So that works very well with all the workspaces. Now what if I want to create my custom workspace? I don't like essentials, or even if I do, let's say switch back to essentials, and I am working on some project for a very long time. Let's say it goes for 6 months or so, and I want to arrange the workspace in such a way that it can help me for next 6 months. So it is very convenient for me for next 6 months. So what? Let's say I'm working on some color theory itself. I take that example again, and I want my color guide also over here. So let's just drag it up, and yeah, this makes sense for me if I'm working on some color theory. And for color theory, I probably need not this big space for artwork. So, and I want more space for my color palettes. Okay, so now let's come to a topic where I want to create my own workspaces. So let's switch back to Essential itself, and let's say I'm working on some project for 6 months or so, and it's a color theory project or something, and I want my workspace or panel arrangement to be like this. I want some big window for my color palette, and I don't know, I don't want much space for my artboard. So this much is fine for me because this will be very beneficial for me. This color palette to select colors. Now, if accidentally you reset your workspace or you reset essentials from here, or if someone else is also working with you and he or she resets the workspace, then again you have to do all these things. Again, you have to rearrange your panels, expand it, and again. Now, it may happen again and again for 6 months. Every time you have to rearrange your panels. So, what you can do is you can create a new workspace. So if someone comes and reset your workspace, then you can again open your own workspace. So let's see how to create it. We'll click on this button, and here we have this option called new workspace. So like the name says, we click on it, and it is asking for a workspace name. So let's give it a name, color guide workspace, and named it, and click on OK. So now here if you see, we have color guide workspace also. So these are my previously two created workspace, experimenter and my workspace, and this one is the third one, color guide. Okay, so let's jump back to essentials, but you can see the same changes is reflected in essentials also, because we made changes in essentials and then we saved it as a new workspace. So we can quickly reset the essential, that's not a problem. Now let's see whether our reset workspace works with this also or not, because we have seen it in essentials or some predefined workspaces. But what if I have created my own workspace and I want to reset that workspace? Will it still work or not? So open the panel bar, or this time we'll drag toolbar and put it over here, and also we'll take swatches and put it over here. So that's how we change our workspace. Now let's see if I am to reset my workspace. It says reset color guide. Just click on it and let's see. Okay, so it reset my workspace. That means the point where I created the workspace, that is the restore point. So anytime I make changes, if I click on reset, it will jump back to that point when I created that workspace. So I hope that is clear with you. And if you have any doubt with workspaces, it is little confusing understanding the interface and all this stuff. But let me know, I can explain it again, or I can give a small lecture on it again, so that you can understand it better. So that's it for this video, and in the next video we'll see some preferences, Adobe Illustrator preferences, and we'll look into some tools and some guides also. So I hope I see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.